my beautiful, lovely souls. How y'all living, fam? Welcome back to another episode of Fabulex Makeup. We're doing a date night tutorial tonight because I sent out a request to all my social media fams asking what y'all wanted to see, and I'm just going down the list. So I figured I'd start with something little glam, little simple, little flirty. So we have prepped the face with some moisture and priming stuff because skincare is always important before we put on makeup and slather on them layers. And I mixed my two foundations today, one from BH Cosmetics number 126 and the other one from NARS in Trinidad. And then I set it with the shade Mocha from the Maybelline Matte Setting Powder. Applying that all over the face to keep my face from creasing. I believe I had some leftover brow shade from the rest of the day, but I went ahead and filled the rest in and defined them even more with the NYX Tame Frame, which is the same thing I used that morning. And then on top of that, to keep my brow hairs in place and keep them curly, nappy hairs all in line, I'm using some Anastasia gel, and then I'm just using some number 3.5 cream concealer from Anastasia as well, and defining under my brow bone and using it as a highlight. I will be using this as my base for my eyeshadows, but I figured I like to define my brows first and then buff it out and then apply the concealer to the rest of the eye. That way I can keep my brows nice and sharp and not have to worry about how far I take the concealer up without, you know, having some bare brows beforehand. And the brush I'm using is an IT Cosmetics buffing crease brush. I'm just using that to buff out the concealer and blend it out, and then I'm using some SACHA pressed powder and setting that all over with a big fluffy blending brush from Morphe. To highlight my face, I'm using NARS concealer in the shade Biscuit, applying that to the highest points of my face, as y'all know. And I do like the way this concealer sets on my face throughout the day. It blends out really well, it dries a little bit fast, but if you use a damn beauty blender, everything works out for you in the end. To contour my face, I'm using the Pro Concealer in Mahogany from LA Girl Cosmetics. One of my favorite products to use from them in all kinds of different shades. Also, their color correctors are amazing as well. Very pigmented, very creamy, and easy to blend out. Like I said, using a beauty blender to blend out. I don't normally have a damp beauty blender. That's just the honest truth, y'all. I really don't. I just use kind of just my beauty blender as I use it. I clean it, I still use it, and it works pretty well for me without getting it too wet. I mean, I know you're supposed to get it wet to blend out even more, but I guess my forceful hands work a little bit better. And I don't mean wet, I mean, you know, get a little bit damp, wring it out, and then use what's left over. Do a little baking today. Actually, decided to do a whole lot of baking today. Using the SACHA Buttercup Loose Setting Powder. Apply it on top of the concealer to keep it from moving and setting it. Also brightening it up a little bit, cleaning up the contour as well. While that sits, I'm going to warm up the face using my matte bronzer from NYX Cosmetics in the shade Deep. This is my favorite bronzer. Like I say in some of my other videos, it has no shimmer, has no glitter. It is truly matte. I also love the shade. It's not too orange, and it's not too light of a brown. It really does the trick of a bronzer. It's one of my favorites, y'all. And once I'm done blending out the contour, I'll just use what's left over on the brush to dust away the rest of the powder. Except for underneath the eyes, I'll just keep that as long as possible. And I don't normally do a strong nose contour, but I did a stronger one than normal using some shades from the CARLI BYBEL palette, so that's what I snatched out of there. So my transition shade is coming from my Coastal Scents 252 Ultimate palette. Applying that to the crease area, just warm it up a little bit. Next shade is from the 35B Bright palette from Morphe, and using the same brush and apply that right on top and darken up and deepen up the crease even more with a little bit more orange. I didn't want to bring too much focus of orange to the eyes because I am doing a bright lip, but I just wanted a little bit of color. I also try to keep it on the peachy side, so I grabbed a little foil eyeshadow from the Foiled Eyes BH Cosmetics palette and applied that on the lid right on top of a lighter salmon color. For the inner corner, I am using some Revlon gel liner. This has a little bit of glitter in it, and this is in the shade Peachy Prism. I did not plan on having so many peachy names in this tutorial, y'all. I just kind of wanted a light orange, salmon, peach eye, but, you know, once you go peach, you never go back. Them lashes today is stacked. I think those are from Ardell and Wish app. I kind of just found those lashes, and I just died for them. Popped them on. Y'all, I'm just kind of one of those people. let's just move on. Bottom lash line, I took the first two oranges, applied that with a It Cosmetics smudge brush, and then on top of that, just to kind of create just a little bit of depth, I used one of the browns that I contoured my nose with for the lash line, kind of brought everything together. And I've been getting back into blush now, y'all. I don't know what it is, but I've been putting some color back into these cheekbones. I'm using the shade Does This Thing Really Work from the Swamp Queen palette. That's just the perfect name for a blush. You never know if it's gonna work or not. Man, I got off on a tangent. Okay, so now I sprayed my face before I put on my highlight to brighten it up a little bit more, and the tiny little e.l.f. bronzer was to help blend out the blush. Now I was going to go for a bright red, but I decided to go for a more orange undertone red. This is Creeper by ColourPop. Kind of keep it a little subtle. And voila. Now I can go on a date by myself, do what I want. Give your honeys a squeeze, go out on a date, have some fun. Watch Fabulous on the dinner table, you know how we do. Anyway, stay beautiful inside and out, y'all.